I've got a pretty sweet piece of vintage equipment to show you today. This is something that Mom bought for me for Christmas actually. She saw it on a local buy and sell Facebook page and she thought I'd like it. She got it for me and she was right in doing so. It came in this bag. Oh, get a load of this. This is a JVC model GR-AXM250 VHS-C camcorder from 2003. Get a load of that. A VHS-C camcorder. So what can I tell you about this? Well, the AXM250 was JVC's second to last VHS-C camcorder. It was introduced in early 2003 and discontinued in late 2003, and it was succeeded by one model that ran until 2006. This was also JVC's lowest end camcorder at the time. This was their cheapest, very cheapest camcorder, although I do not know how it cost. It's very hard to get information from the Internet Archive because just about all of the versions of JVC's website from the time this would have been made are all corrupted on the Internet Archive. Hate when that happens. So what can I tell you about this particular unit? Well, it works absolutely perfect. I've already tried it and it's in excellent shape. That's awesome. It came with this one battery. It's an aftermarket battery, nickel metal hydride, and it seems to hold at least a useful charge. I think maybe only 15 or 20 minutes, but it's better than nothing. It came with the lens cap. Other stuff it came with, let's dig in the bag here. It came with the lanyard, or I guess not a lanyard, you'd call it a neck strap, which I removed. And it came with one VHS-C tape, which doesn't appear to have ever been used. There was nothing recorded on it. And it also came with not one, now I gotta open this pocket in the front here, not two, but three brand new, never opened VHS-C tapes. 4 tapes in total. What a deal. And none of them were ever used, even the one that was opened. And well, it's not in the bag here, it's sitting down there. It did come with the AC adapter right there. Awesome. So what is VHS-C? Well, here's what the cassette looks like. It's, well, I should get a Video 8 cassette. You can see it's a tiny bit shorter and a tiny bit narrower than a Video 8 cassette, but it's a lot thicker. It has just a one window there and it's got a record protect tab. It's quite an odd looking thing, isn't it? As far as my research can tell, VHS-C was the very first camcorder-oriented video format, introduced in 1982. And VHS-C is actually a very interesting format in that, as its name implies, it is simply a smaller version of VHS. The actual tape inside and the signal, which is recorded onto the tape, is exactly the same as that with VHS. And as a matter of fact, you can get adapters that you put a VHS-C tape into, and you can push the whole adapter into a VCR, and you can natively play VHS-C tapes in a standard VHS VCR. VHS-C competed in the camcorder market, competed mostly with Video 8, which was Sony's format. And Video 8 and VHS-C were pretty much identical in quality, although Video 8 had many more advantages. You could record 90 minutes of standard quality video onto a Video 8 tape as opposed to just 30 minutes for a VHS-C tape. And Video 8 was often employed on better quality and better featured camcorders than VHS-C, which was often limited to cheaper and lesser featured camcorders. And of course, Video 8 saw many upgrades. Later there was High 8, and then, of course, even later, there was Digital 8, which is what this video you're watching has been recorded on. But VHS-C never saw those upgrades. Well, actually it did. Later, I think in the 90s, came s-vhs-c, or Super VHS-C, which was basically the miniaturized version of Super VHS, which brought quality up to standards that could compete with Hi8. But despite the introduction of Super VHS-C, regular VHS-C actually remained popular, and despite all of the advantages that Video 8 and its successors brought, VHS-C, for some reason, remained popular well into the 21st century. JVC's last VHS-C camcorder was discontinued in 2006, and this is a format that was introduced in 1982 and was greatly inferior in quality to competing analog camcorder formats. I would say that the only reason, well actually two reasons, that VHS-C held on for so long was first of all its direct compatibility with VHS VCRs, and second of all it is by far the cheapest camcorder videotape format ever made. Cassettes are much cheaper than Video 8 and Hi8 cassettes. Now although it was a very ancient and very inferior quality camcorder video format, VHS-C actually saw use on some pretty nice camcorders, probably mostly in the 1980s. There were actually a lot of nice camcorders that used VHS-C. I think most of them were made actually by JVC. I believe JVC employed the VHS-C format more than any other manufacturer. After probably the mid-90s though, VHS-C was mostly limited to bottom-end camcorders, like this one. This is what you could definitely call a bottom-end camcorder in 2003. So, let's take a look at this camcorder. Take the lens cap off here. One rather surprising nice feature this has is it actually has a halogen light, just like my other Digital 8 camcorder has. I wouldn't expect to see that on a camcorder as cheap as this one, but then again, it was 2003, so back in that day, cheaper camcorders like this one tended to still have some rather nifty features that you wouldn't see on cheap camcorders later. For example, my JVC Mini DV camcorder, which was from 2005, that was a bottom-end camcorder. Well, bottom-end for the digital camcorders. JVC was still offering analog units at that time. But that camcorder didn't have video light. A higher-end unit similar to it did, though. It's got an LCD display. The display is about the size you would expect, but as you can see, the actual door is quite a bit larger, so you get this huge bezel. Looks kind of cheap, but oh well. So it's got image stabilization, talks about the light, and this actually did originally come with the VHS adapter, but I did not get that. It's got 16x optical zoom, 600 digital, nobody cares about that. It advertises digital signal processing. What for, I don't know. Likewise, it says here, high resolution. High resolution what? I don't know. Viewfinder, I guess. 70 combination digital effects. Again, who cares? So, like my JVC Mini DV camcorder, which V Westlife now has, unless he's thrown it away, it's got manual and automatic modes. Automatic doesn't let you change any of the settings, manual does, and of course it's got the play mode. It's got a black and white viewfinder based on a CRT tube. The viewfinder has a diopter, which is this wheel which you turn, and it's got the hand strap, which is actually very similar to what you'd find on a Sony Handycam. Interestingly enough, it looks exactly the same, aside from the brand name on it. But you got a speaker there, and you got your zoom control, a button to enable 5-second recording, so it only records for a second. This button here, when you're in manual recording mode, it toggles manual focus, and when you're in the play mode, it toggles the time-based correction, which interestingly this actually has, and it indicates it right there, time-based correction. It also indicates CNR, which is chroma noise reduction. Now, I don't know if these two features are something you'd expect on every camcorder, or if these actually are special things that this model happens to have. I don't know. Good that it has it regardless, I imagine. And this wheel here, it adjusts stuff. It's like on the Handycams, and you can press it inwards to go to the menu. button to turn on the halogen light. You got charge and power LEDs. Refresh, I have no idea what it does. And then you have the digital effects button. Program AE, so you know, settings for a particular situation like sports or beach and snow and that stuff. And you get the standard fader and wipe effects. And it also serves as a counter reset button. Your VCR controls here. And this thing actually has a feature which I find quite interesting. It has a retake feature. So retake is basically a way to rewind or fast forward through the video without having to switch into the play mode. So when you're in the record mode, if you shoot a scene and decide you want to reshoot it, you can just hold the appropriate retake button down. Like if I press the rewind section here, it plays the video backwards at a normal speed, and you can see it go by on the display. And when it gets to the point you want, just let go, and then you can record starting at that point. And it's also got the backlight compensation, and yeah, that's really about it. It's quite a basic camcorder. Oh, we got info on the bottom here. JVC, made in Malaysia. The charger was made in China. Charger is 11 volts, but the battery's just 6 volts. And no data manufacturer. I wonder if the battery has a data manufacturer. You'll notice that the viewfinder can tilt all around here. It can go all the way down, I guess for storage. Or you can flip it all the way up like that. So if we take the battery out, it's an aftermarket battery, 6 volts, 2 amp hours, made in China. That's all it says. For VHS-C, GE, JVC, Panasonic, RCA. Apparently many camcorders use the same type of battery. Oh, it says for 8mm as well. RCA, Sanyo, Sharp, Sony. Oh, apparently there were some Video 8 and or High 8 camcorders that use this battery. Interesting. Obviously old enough that it predated the InfoLithium system, I would assume. So I'll put that back in. And we will turn this puppy on. So I'll put it in the manual mode. You get no beep sound effects at all. So there's the display, and it works. And I can zoom up like that. If you zoom up too close for something to focus on, well, it's not going to do it now, but anyway, if you zoom up too close on something, it automatically backs up far enough that it'll focus. And we can turn on the light. Oh, it's got an automatic mode as well. So if you're in a bright enough situation, the light will turn itself off. Oh, yeah, just turned itself off. Then if I point over here, it turns itself back on. So there's what the light looks like. It's about as bright as what you'd find on a Handycam. And it's actually, just because of the way the optics are set up, it's spread a bit more, so it's spread against a wider area, which is nice in some situations. And it's got this clear panel here. I don't know if that's a remote sensor, or actually I know how to find out. Turn on night shot. I don't know if it's a remote sensor or just a tape window. Actually it wouldn't be a tape window because the tape insert's on the other side. What on earth is that? So we can go into the menu here. There's the menu, and we can set manual exposure if we want. We can turn the image stabilization on or off. We have manual white balance, which is nice, and we can put a title, which is nice, and set up the title. So choose the title and how big it is and stuff. And I believe it actually, yeah, you can actually scroll the title too. And then we go to the system menu, and we can choose SP or EP recording. SP on a standard VHS-C cassette is 30 minutes. EP would be 90 minutes. And then we can turn on digital zoom, set it to 50 or 600, or leave it off like I'm going to do. And then this feature right here, which is super low lux. Now my mini DV camcorder had this feature, but it wasn't called super low lux. It was called gain control or something like that. But basically, and I don't get why JVC camcorders work this way. At least the ones I've seen work this way. I don't know if JVC still does this sort of thing, but basically super low lux was advertised as a way to It's advertised in the manual as a way of being able to brighten up dark images. So you would think it to be something similar to Night Shot or something. But the thing is, I have it set to normal here. There's normal, maximum, or off. If you turn it off, the camcorder becomes absolutely useless. This is a reasonably brightly lit room. It's kind of hard to see through the camcorder, but I can tell you that it looks very dark in this room with super low lux off. My mini DV camcorder was the same way. It had this gain control, and if you turned it off, the image became absolutely uselessly dark. I don't get it, like, and by default it's turned off, so why have it turned off if it makes the camcorder useless indoors? So I have it set to normal here, and that actually works well. It has a wide mode. It's not a real wide mode, it just chops the top and bottom off. And you can set the tape length, T20 through T40, and the reason you do that is so it'll correctly tell you the amount of tape left to record on. And then the display, you can reduce the amount of indicators on the display if you want, and set the date and time. I did set the date and time. I don't know if it kept it or not. Yeah, it did. It kept the date and time. Osd Output, that means through the video jacks. Oh, I completely forgot about that. So if you open up this door here, you get an AV output and the charge jack. And I should probably also show you what the viewfinder looks like. Interestingly, I don't know if you can see, but yes, right there, there's what appears to be some sort of nematode in the viewfinder, and it's not on the viewfinder's lens here. It's actually like on the CRT tube, which is kind of annoying. It looks like some sort of bacterium or something. It's kind of weird. Anyway, that's what the viewfinder looks like. Anyway, Osd Output means it outputs the on-screen indicators and the menu through the AV input, so I want that off. I did set it off before. I don't know how it came back on. Oh, that's weird. It won't let me set the whether the recording time. Oh, because I don't have a tape in, maybe. So that would choose whether or not you want to see how much tape time's left. It's got a demo mode. I don't know if that'll... Oh! Compact VHS camcorder. Play in your VHS-C. See, that was the biggest selling point of VHS-C, is it was directly compatible with your VCR. Anyway. There's that crap. Off. That is all the menu features. And if we get out of the menu here, you'll now see that just sitting here without a tape in, we've lost 1 bar of our battery meter. When I was outside shooting with this, it was about 40 degrees outside, 40 or 45. I had 3 bars in the battery meter recording, and then as soon as I turned the halogen light on, the battery meter started blinking, saying that my battery was going to go dead soon. So I guess the battery is not in the best of health. If we go into the play mode here, something rather frustrating with the user interface is that there is no menu. The menu that you get into in the recording mode does have settings that influence the play mode, but when you're in the play mode, you can't change those settings. You gotta go into the recording mode. That's kind of dumb. So that's what the play mode looks like. It's got the time-based correction being advertised there, and it's asking for a tape. And yeah, that's about it. So I'll put it back into the recording mode. Now how you put a tape in this is quite interesting. What you gotta do is you gotta have the LCD opened all the way, and you have to have it straight. And this right here actually flips open to reveal the deck. The eject is right there, so if we open this, there's that. There's the heads. It's a 4-head VCR, and the audio is mono. I should have mentioned that. It is a mono microphone. So there's the tape. So we just shove it in there. Now I should probably go into the play mode. And first thing I gotta do is rewind it. It was already rewound, I guess. So if we go into the record mode, it's ready to record. We got 30 minutes of record time. So without further ado, let's make a recording on this thing. I'm going to record it to the tape, and then when I'm all done this video, I'll transfer it to the computer through my Digital 8 camcorder. I'll just pass it directly through the FireWire. Alright, we are now recording on the JVC GR-AXM250 VHS-C camcorder from 2003. This is quite a large camcorder. It's the largest I've ever had, but it's actually relatively light for its size, so it's not at all uncomfortable to hold. There's a zoom. When you're backing out of the zoom, you can hear the zoom motor quite audibly. I don't know how well it'll pick up on the tape though. It came with some brand new tapes. I won't open these until this one tape I'm using wears out, if it ever does. You can still buy VHS-C tapes in stores, oddly enough. That's how well it held on. A video format from 1982 that was probably obsolete by the 1990s. And here's my Digital 8 camcorder. So let's take a walk around here. Mr. Frog, who hasn't eaten in 3 or 4 days, probably because of the weather that we've had. We've had some pretty crazy warm weather. It downpoured on Christmas Day. Or maybe he's feeling bad for B. Bishop PCM's frogs, which is a shame. Oh, I shouldn't be turned up when I'm using that heater. So you'll see if I go into the menu here and turn the super low lux off, well actually I gotta do it with it not recording. So here's what this room looks like with super low lux turned off, to which I say, why make this camcorder work this way with off being the default feature, or being the default setting, rather than just have the camera automatically work this way. I do see why they put it as a feature, because when you have it turned on it makes the picture more grainy, but you know, other camcorder manufacturers just make the whole system automatic, so I don't know why JVC never did it the same way. But when you're outdoors or under something with a light, it does work well even when it's turned off. So how does the zoom work? Does it focus, or the focus range I mean? Oh, that focuses, that's pretty good. Image stabilization, not the best I've seen, but it's okay. I wonder what it's like with stabilization turned off. Now stabilization is turned off. Interestingly, you might have seen the picture zoom out a bit. Apparently it zooms in the picture a small bit, and that's how it compensates the shaking by digitally adjusting the position of the slightly zoomed in picture, so it has that margin to work with. So let's zoom in again. Yeah, a little bit worse I guess. So now if I turn it on, I guess it's a little bit better, but not much. So let me zoom back out here. Let me try the title. Well, apparently you can't write your own titles, which is too bad. But they do let you choose different languages for them, so hooray. That's the large size text. Now let's see how the low light sensitivity is. So we'll turn the ceiling light off. Here's what it looks like. The super low lux is set to normal. Turn this light off. And here's what it looks like just with the desk lamp. Turn this light off. And, well, the room is not at all completely dark, but it sure looks like it on this camcorder. And then if I turn Mr. Frog off, now it's completely dark, and I'll turn the halogen light on. There you go. Works pretty well, I say. Pretty darn well. Now I'll turn the light off and turn the heater on and see if it picks up the glowing element. Oh, it sure does. It's picking up the infrared, I see. The infrared radiation. So, I've been recording in the SP mode. Now let's switch to EP and see what the difference in quality is. Alright, now I'm recording in EP mode. So you get 3 times longer recording time, 90 minutes versus 30, at the expense of quality. As with any analog video format. And digital formats, although it's not nearly as apparent on a digital videotape format as it is on an analog one. So here's what EP recording looks like. I don't know about you guys, but in my opinion, for as cheap of a camcorder as this would have been, and for being based on a very extremely obsolete recording format for its time, this thing actually has pretty good recording quality. The video is pretty good as far as VHS goes. You can tell it's a 4-head system. And the audio seems fine. And yeah, it's actually not that bad. So if we go into the play mode here, we can rewind it a bit here. Play back. And that's what it looks like. You can turn the volume up. And see if it picks up the glowing element. So that's that. So that's pretty much all there is to show of the JVC model GR-AXM250 VHS-C camcorder from 2003. Wow, what a load of old crap, but you know what? It's a really sweet camcorder, and I'm glad I got it. It's a nice piece of video making history. Will I use this thing for YouTube videos in the future? Probably not. But you know, if I'm ever in a situation where, you know, I need like a tertiary video angle or something, sure, I could use this thing for something like that. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.